Couples who have moved in together, what surprised you most about living with a male, female? She works from home, but the television never leaves. Bravo. I leave for work. Bravo. Come home. Bravo. Go on the elliptical. Bravo. 24 hours of these catty women and sometimes men yelling at each other. Bravo. Always being on is like the only thing we fight about. Which is probably a good thing. But Jesus Christ. Always with the Bravo. Even when I entertain her and say, what show is this? Oh, Southern Charm. I don't really watch that show. Well, guess what? I've seen 50 episodes of Southern Charm passively when I come home, and I know you've done 20x that. Goddamn, I hate Bravo. I'm getting a divorce. I always thought of women as tidy and organized. That was until I moved in with one. I swear I spend 20 minutes a day helping so tidy up the mess she creates in the first hour every morning. Then another 10 minutes every day searching for brushes, hairbands, makeup, clothes, etc. I always knew women went through TP faster than men, but I never knew how much faster they did. It got to the point, I'd just grab a pack of TP whenever I went to the store for any reason. We may not be out at home, but we will be soon, I reckoned, and I was never wrong about that. Methods of storage. Her, organized. Several conversations have gone like this. Me, where is my blue notebook? It was on this shelf under my components box. Her, I cleaned up and organized everything. Me, okay, where is it? Her, I don't know. Why don't you keep track of your stuff? He peed in the sink. That's all. My husband will take the dog for a wee out back before bed, and I'm pretty sure he pees off the edge of the deck in solidarity. Or maybe just to remind the dog it's his house. If you and your partner are in different rooms, one of them will randomly decide to just check in by opening the door, smile, and then going back to their separate room. I thought if I ever moved in with a girl, I'd have to be way less of a slob. Turns out I'm the neat freak in this relationship. The audacity. No, but real answer is how loud he needs things to be. Every song, movie, whatever has to be heard from 3 rooms over. I once pulled Chewbacca out of the bathroom sink. No matter how long you've been together, or have known each other, you truly don't know the person. I still love my husband dearly, but I wish he knew what the laundry hamper is. Everything has a decorative pillow on it. They are too small to be used for anything, and I'm not allowed to throw them on the floor or pile them all on one chair. The bed has a bunch. And a long tube thing. I'm not allowed to whack her with the tube thing. Where did these come from? Why do we need them? If they're just in the way, can we put them in storage? No. Okay, babe, whatever you want. I grew up with a brother, so I was pretty well prepared for living with a dude, but what surprised me the most was that my boyfriend has no issue leaving things lying around where they do not belong. Dirty plate, for example, is left on the couch. The mail he just opened ended up on top of the microwave. The towel he dried off with could end up on the kitchen table. Literally no rhyme or reason to the madness. How messy women can be. I mean, there's hair everywhere. The sink looks like a disaster area after she cleans her face at night. Every time she gets water, she gets a new cup and leaves the old one out, not in the sink with other dishes. Her shower has like 27 old bottles of shampoo with a dad amount left in each. There are ponytail holders all over the house. I think the cat shit one out this morning, but she makes the bed every morning, so I guess it's all right. How much I actually talk to myself. I never had any roommates. Aside from one for like the first 2 weeks in college before I got moved to a single room. So I was used to just talking to myself out loud like nothing. After we moved in together and she kept asking, who are you talking to? And did you say something? I realized that I actually talk to myself quite a bit. I didn't realize that I'll just say things out loud that humor me or I find interesting. Like driving down the road and I see a funny license plate. I'll just say it out loud. So started laughing and asked why I was saying like one-word phrases randomly. I asked my brother about it and he was like, yeah, you've always done that. That one day they will eventually forget to flush a big dump, not check to see if a flushed one went down completely. And that one day, you'll find it and things change forever. his ability to be doing nothing. He can lay on the couch and stare at the ceiling and do nothing and think nothing. And he enjoys it. I would pull a muscle or pop something from the strain if I tried to do that. Sitting in the passenger seat and just stare at the roads. Not saying anything. Why are you so quiet? Are you upset? What's wrong? My first roommate was a girl. She was the slobbiest person I've ever met. She had been a coworker for ages and was always neat at work. It was stunning. Her bedroom was just piles of clothes. The living room was clothes and jackets everywhere. Half-drank cups of water. You name it. I loved living with her. It was a very comfy mess. My wife is quite a bit more of a neat freak and has a cute little temper. Sometimes I wanna live like Charlie and Frank. I had that for a year. How different our versions of clean are. Learning that there's a wrong way to fold towels apparently. For me, how subtle the need for alone time crept up on me. I wasn't unhappy in the slightest and moving in was natural. But over time I felt myself becoming irritable, and it turned out that I tend to get that way when I don't have time to myself. Because I went from being alone in my room after work in my parents' house to being around pretty much every minute I'm not at work or driving. So I found myself with someone almost 24/7. And it took a toll. Thankfully, once I recognized that, it was easier to manage. How specific I have to be when giving instructions to do something. Like instead of saying wash the sheets, I have to say wash and dry the sheets and pillowcases and put new sheets on the bed. This is exactly what it is like being a programmer. The classic joke is a wife tells her husband, a programmer, go to the store and buy a loaf of bread. And if they have eggs, get a dozen. The husband drives to the store and comes back with 12 loaves of bread. What the hell is this? The wife asks. They had eggs, the programmer replied. A lot of it's been mentioned. Bobby pins everywhere. Hair everywhere. She was not a clean person. I did the cleaning. But one thing that hasn't been mentioned is just the sheer amount of accessories that she had. Tons of makeup and beauty products. A vanity full of it. Plus more. Lots of clothes. Tons of clothes she didn't wear. I need to get bobby pins. I'm out. No, you're not. Go to literally any spot of the house and look down. The clothes thing bothers me more than anything, to be honest. The whole closet is her clothes. All but one drawer of the dresser is her clothes. Her favorite thing to wear, my shirts. After living with him for 4 years, I opened a drawer of his dresser, and it was empty. All of it. Apparently he thought it was my extra dresser. He doesn't use a dresser. Clothes get washed and put into a clean clothes hamper. He puts socks and underwear in his bedside table. Now I'm wondering what other furniture in our house is empty. My wife has really long beautiful hair. I was not prepared to find that all in my butt and crotch regions as often as I do. I could never be prepared to have one stuck in my ass and have to pull it out like some mangy dog. I've never felt more violated or unclean than when I felt those hairs basically floss my lower GI tract. Somehow I swallowed a few, and passing them is a really disgusting feeling. She has told me that hasn't happened to her too, which makes it weirder. My ex-wife had really long hair and I was constantly pulling 3-foot-long strands out of my mouth. The worst was a maddening itch in my eye that I kept rubbing and rubbing until I realized I was pulling a hair out of my eye socket. Inch after inch I pulled out, feeling it tugging from under my eyeball. How the hell did it get in there? It's no mystery. The shit is just everywhere. I grew up with sisters. Nothing surprises me. I have never observed my wife put a bobby pin in her hair. I have found thousands of bobby pins in our house. It's not as hard as everyone told me it would be, that's what she said. But seriously, understand you don't have to do absolutely everything together since you live together, and respect each other's boundaries, wants and needs. The true shock for me was the sheer amount of time my husband spends in the lavatory. Prior to the invention of smartphones, many of us kept a small library of bathroom reading material for just this reason. What an absolute master chef he is. I thought I was a great cook until we moved in together and he started making meals. Blew my mind. Now I think back to when we first started dating and he would eat my cooking and say it was the best he'd ever had. The little liar. Brings a smile to my face. They obsessively put hair on the shower wall. Bobby pins. There were bobby pins everywhere. On the TV stand, in the couch cushions, under the bed, on the windowsill, in the fridge. You couldn't turn your head without seeing 15 of those things. I was told that we would start arguing and being miserable. It ended up feeling like a super awesome constant sleepover. Don't let people scare you into not moving in with a significant other if that is what you both want. To be honest, it was that it worked out so well. My girlfriend and I moved in after about 2 months together due to circumstances of us both moving out of our current apartments, and it honestly worked out great. We didn't fight. We both cleaned and kept things tidy, and it was just a ton of fun. We moved cities for her grad school to get her doctorate, and I moved back in with my parents to help remodel and not pay rent as she moved right next to her uni, but are getting a place together within a couple months. After almost 2 years of dating, we're both still super excited to be living with one another again soon. I feel as though, given the situation and how living together usually goes for couples, it should have been a disaster. I had moved out of my old apartment before she was out of hers at first, but she had looked up how 1 bed 1 bath would be an option, and I was hesitant because of how things like that usually go with an SO, especially after so short of time dating. It was one of the best and happiest decisions of my life. And very organized. I was living with my parents since I traveled for work and only made it home 1 or 2 weekends a month. She moved in with me at my parents' house. We had one room to store stuff. My bedroom. We bought things we'd need when we moved out when we saw a deal too good to pass up, and she stored them. I realized she was good when we had to make 4 trips to get all our stuff out. 4 trips. This girl had boxes inside boxes inside boxes. She utilized every inch available in our room to stack items. We just bought a house and still have some boxes left to unpack. I will call her at work and say something like, "Hey, do you remember that blue paper clip I like to use? I can't find it." She will tell me which room, which box, what container, and what is beside it, just in case I still can't find it. Everything went extremely smooth with my girlfriend and I. I attest that to having almost equal levels of cleanliness standards. I see a lot of people commenting on that, and I feel very blessed that hasn't been an issue in my life. Don't know how I got so lucky with that. But what surprises me and what I fail to understand is the vast amount of time she spends getting ready. I try to understand, but I just don't. She looks beautiful all of the time, but spends an hour and a half to 2 hours before going out making herself look nice. She looks incredible when she's done, of course, but the whole process stresses her out, and she has quoted it as a reason why she doesn't want to go out sometimes. Even during little outings with friends, she spends the same amount of time getting ready. I'm a numbers type person. That would be just too many of my seconds spent on this earth looking nice for other people I'm not trying to physically attract. I don't press her about it because she has said it's just something she wants, needs to do. Definitely the food. I'd eat ramen and canned foods all the time when I was living alone. Now I get spoiled with home-cooked food. The best part though is she's been teaching me to cook. I love our cooking school sessions after work. Apparently the cat I raised since she was a kitten and loved more than life itself is more than willing to abandon me and love someone else much more in a blink of an eye. The hair. Man, it gets everywhere. Seriously, I found her hair wrapped around my balls and had to untangle it. I was almost convinced she was putting it there when I was sleeping to mess with me. That your partner may follow you around the house, just because. How often I'd be helping her find her car keys. Eventually, I put up a hook that I was able to get her in the habit of using. Made me tear up a little at the time, but a couple weeks after we split I remember getting a text from her that said I miss being able to find my keys.